Oh, hey guys, what's going on? It's Massive Joe's Raw Review, and I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Awesome! Raw review for the viewers at home today on one of the most impressive complete stimulant-based pre-workout formulas we have seen thus far from our good friends at Hosstile Supplements. It is, of course, Hostility in the house. Let's get straight into it. Tell you guys what's in it. Tell you exactly what it's going to do. The nutritional information panel on this teeny tiny little tub ain't going to get it done. We're about to go deep in this here Hosstile Sups Hostility. Luckily, we got ourselves a big ass nutritional information panel appearing on screen so you guys can play along. Let's start at the top and note that this is the watermelon tub, the watermelon flavor that we're going to look at. And there is a reason that I have pointed it out. We'll get to that in a second. Starting from the top, serving size, one rounded scoop, 26.5 grams, and there are 21 rounded scoop serves in each and every tub of this Hostility. So it's not a 40 scoop, 20 serve. It is one scoop per serve, 21 scoop serves in every single tub. I will point out that the rounded scoop weight does vary between the flavors. So the 26.5 grams that you guys are seeing on screen at the moment is for the watermelon candy flavor. If we do a quick addition and we add up all of the active ingredients, there's 16 of them, I might point out. So it does take a while to add them up. Trust me, I did it with my calculator just before. 16 active ingredients, we add them all up, 20.285 grams of actives. So in the watermelon flavor, we're dealing with 77% active ingredients and only 23% flavors, sweeteners, and stabilizers, which is very, very good for a pre-workout formula. In terms of what the 26.5 grams of, full grams, I should say, the 20.285 of active ingredients across the 16 active ingredients is made up of, guys. As always, Supplements Simplified is the place you want to go if you want to take a deep dive into any of the ingredients that I'm about to discuss. But what I'm going to do, as we do with all complete stimulant-based pre-workouts, is I'm going to break it down into the 5 effects that we look for in complete stim-based pre's, and I'm going to see what ingredients in this formula support each of those 5 effects. The 5 effects are muscle pumps, improved blood flow and nutrient delivery. Effect number 2, muscle power. Effect number 3, muscular endurance. Effect number 4, nootropic, increased mental focus and elevation in mood. Effect number 5, of course, has got to be energy. Let's start with effect number 1, muscle pumps and improved blood flow. We have a massive dose of L-citrulline, a massive dose, 6 total grams of L-citrulline, in combination with a massive dose of arginine nitrate, NO3T, registered trademark version of arginine nitrate, 2 full grams. I mean, do I need to say any more? Incredible synergism between both of these ingredients, the L-citrulline and the arginine from the arginine nitrate working well together to boost nitric oxide through the arginine pathway. Citrulline, of course, is a precursor to arginine, and then you get arginine from the arginine nitrate in its own right. That's going to boost nitric oxide through that pathway. Then from the nitrate side of the arginine nitrate, you boost nitric oxide through the nitrate, nitric oxide pathway. So we've got some good synergism happening here from the muscle pumps perspective. So we get a big tick there when it comes to muscle pumps, improved blood flow and nutrient delivery. Effect number 2, let's see where we're at. Muscle power. We have a solid dose of creatine monohydrate. Technically, it's not a single clinical dose. That would be 5 grams. We have 3 grams of creatine in there. But we do have some synergism with the betaine anhydrous, which is a clinical dose, 2.5 grams, probably above clinical if we're going to get real technical. And you have some nice synergism there. Betaine anhydrous is actually a precursor to creatine. Creatine in its own right is a precursor to ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is going to help with that muscle power. It's the fuel source that our muscles use to produce power, ATP. And then we also have a whopping dose of peak O2, which touches both muscular endurance and muscle power, but it does tie in nicely with the creatine monohydrate and the betaine to promote muscle power. So we get a nice big tick for muscle power as well. Effect number 3, muscular endurance. We have a nice dose of taurine here, 2,000 milligrams, 2 total grams of taurine, in combination with that 2 total grams of Pico-2, which is going to support muscular endurance nicely. In combination, we're going to go back to the top of the nutritional panel for these. 3 electrolytes. So we have magnesium as trimagnesium citrate, 50 milligrams. We have sodium coming from 2 sources, sodium citrate and pink Himalayan sea salt, 240 milligrams. And we have potassium from potassium citrate in a 200 milligram dose. Taurine, Pico-2, and electrolytes together are very well going to support muscular endurance. So we get a big tick there when it comes to allowing us to train harder for longer. Effect number 4, the nootropic effects, mental focus and elevation in mood. We've got a whole lot going on here, guys. A nice dose of L-tyrosine, a full gram of L-tyrosine, which is a precursor to L-dopa, which is a precursor to dopamine. So it's going to boost our mood and our general feeling of well-being. We then have a whopping dose of alpha-GPC, 600 milligrams of alpha-GPC. And what this is going to do is obviously yield choline, which is a precursor to acetylcholine, going to help with mental focus. And in combination with the alpha-GPC, we have a very nice dose of huperzine A, 10 milligrams yielding 100 micrograms, 10 milligrams of Huperzia serrata yielding 100 micrograms of huperzine A, which is, as the acetylcholine levels are boosted by the alpha-GPC to increase mental focus, our body's going to start breaking those down straight away, and the huperzine A stops that breakdown. It stops the enzymatic breakdown of the elevated acetylcholine. So that mental focus, that feeling of elevated mental focus sticks around for a lot longer. So some nice synergism when it comes to the overall nootropic effect of boosting mood and mental focus. We get a nice tick there. And then finally, energy. Woo, all right, we got teacrine. Tasteless theacrine in here, yielding 100 milligrams in a 250 milligram dose in combination with a 200 milligram dose of caffeine, which is great to see. It's not 300, 400, 500 or something stupid. Let's call it, you know what? Let's call it a sensible dose of caffeine in every serve of the Hostility. We then have Infinergy, which is a registered trademark source of dicaffeine malate, which is sustained release caffeine, which is going to yield another 100 milligrams of sustained release caffeine. And then we have back to the top, pantothenic acid, which is another fancy name for vitamin B5 in a 100 milligram dose. Huge tick for energy. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Which means, viewers, we are at 5 ticks for the 5 effects that we look for in complete stimulant-based pre-workouts, which is very rare. We don't generally see pre-workouts that really do a good job of providing, from a formulation perspective, all 5 effects that we are looking for when it comes to complete stimulant-based pre-workouts. But more on how these play out in the actual effects a little bit later on. I do want to take a little what is it missing deep dive and go, you know what, pretty impressive formula, ticks all 5 boxes. If we're going to play devil's advocate, what are we going to pick on in this formula? Because we do like to keep all the companies whose products get raw reviewed a little bit accountable and keep them honest. I think from a pump perspective, adding some agmatine or some norvaline or something to promote those pumps would be a beneficial addition to this formula, as too would glycerol for hyperhydration. So from a muscle, not from a pump, but from a muscle hydration, hyperhydration, muscle volumization perspective, adding some glycerol in there would be beneficial as well. Muscle power, you can always do some Elevate-ATP, some Peak ATP, something that works nicely in combination with the creatine and the betaine in there as well. And then from a muscular endurance perspective, and I know that Hosstile have left this ingredient out on purpose, that is beta-alanine, of course. The reason why I left it out on purpose is because of the tingles. A lot of people don't enjoy the tingles, but it is the most proven ingredient when it comes to buffering fatigue toxins and therefore promoting muscular endurance, especially when it comes to resistance-based training. So adding some beta-alanine into this formula would just kind of buffer out that muscular endurance effect that we're looking for. That being said, guys, very, very comprehensive formula on paper and very, very difficult to poke holes in. I mean, any pre-workout that comes in and stacks up 5 ticks next to the 5 effects we look for in a complete stim-based pre, in my books, is absolute top shelf, world class. In terms of how it tastes, how it mixes, guys, it comes in 4 flavors. We've got, of course, the watermelon candy. That's the tub that you guys have been looking at during this raw review. It also comes in a grape bubblegum flavor. It also comes in a mango punch flavor, and more recently has just become available in flavor number 4, which is the peach burst flavor. Infamous Massive Joe's taste and mixability test about to go down. I got my MJ shaker with 10 fluid ounces of cold water in there. I got my double wall glass ready to go, and I've got my own personal tub of the Hostility. I'm currently rocking the mango punch flavor, so that's the flavor we're going to do a little taste test on. I will point out to you guys that it does say, well, you would have noticed on the nutritional panel, it says 1 rounded scoop. So from a scoop weight perspective, we're used to doing level scoops, especially when it comes to pre-workouts. That would be a level scoop. That's going to be 10 to 15% under what it's supposed to be. So when Hosstile say a rounded scoop, what they actually, what they're getting at is something that looks like that. So it's, I mean, honestly, it's probably closer to a heaped scoop than it is a rounded scoop. That's what you have to be throwing down to get the 26.5 grams in the watermelon flavor and the slight variations in that weight in the different flavors. But let's go heap scoop. I wouldn't go rounded scoop. I'd go heap scoop in there. So make sure you guys are doing that. Let me take my heap scoop of this mango punch flavor. We throw it in my MJ shaker. Get this out of the way. Take a few flicks of the wrist. I'm gonna show you guys how it mixes. Refresh my memory on how this mango punch tastes. It's gonna be a short refresh because I trained on it this morning, so I know how it tastes. But for your benefit, guys, let me walk you through it. All right, from a mixability perspective, as you guys can see, mixes pretty damn well. There's no floaters in there. I will let you guys know that if I let it sit here long enough, there are going to be sinkers, or you can kind of see them already. There are going to be sinkers down the bottom. With that in mind, it is a stacked, massive dose, massive serve pre-workout. So I would go so far as to say Turbo Bowl is required for this Hostility, Hosstile, complete stimulant-based pre-workout. Let me refresh my memory on how the mango punch flavor tastes. Hosstile have done an exceptional job with the flavoring of Hostility. And the reason why I say that, guys, is twofold. Firstly, 16 active ingredients. That's 16 different natural flavors to try and mask with the flavor that they're trying to get out of a particular flavor system. Second reason is just over 20% of non-active ingredients. So it's not like half of every scoop is flavoring. It's less than 1/5 of every scoop is flavoring. So they haven't had a lot to work with, but they've had to do a lot with what they've had to work with. And they've done a really, really good job with the flavors. I've tried 3 of the flavors: mango, grape bubblegum, and watermelon. I have yet to try the peach burst, so I'm gonna leave that one out of my rankings. For me personally, I actually think the mango is the best flavor. And then I've got grape bubblegum and watermelon pretty much head to head. I've been told, one of the owners of Hosstile, Fired himself, told me that peach is the best flavor, but I haven't tried it yet, so that's just Fired's opinion, not mine. But for me, mango definitely the best of the 3 that I've tried. That being said, all the flavors are very, very good, and it is the sort of pre-workout that you actually really look forward to drinking because the shit just tastes good. In terms of the effects, so what you guys have been tuning in for. Let me just go through the 5 effects because we know how they play out on paper. Let me tell you guys how they play out in the gym in the real life situation. Pumps, crazy. Pumps are amazing. It's like there's a pump pre-workout built in to the Hostility pre-workout. The pumps are awesome, and it's no surprise. There's massive dose of citrulline, stupid dose of arginine nitrate. The pumps should be ridiculous, and they are ridiculous. Pumps are very, very good. Power is good. It's nothing exceptional. It's nothing groundbreaking. You do feel strong and you feel powerful, but it's not like, wow, this is the best pre-workout I've ever used when it comes to muscle power. So the actual real world effects, power is definitely there. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing exceptional. Endurance is very, very good, especially considering there's no beta-alanine. For me personally, beta-alanine is really the bee's knees when it comes to muscular endurance ingredients and buffering fatigue toxins. That being said, it's almost like there is beta-alanine in here. You're just able to keep training, you're able to push through failure, you're able to push through fatigue, and the endurance effect is definitely something that you notice when training on the Hostility. Mood and mental focus is second to none. I really think, and you know what? Let me just hold that thought for a second. Let me go to energy as well. Energy is next level. And what I mean when I say that is, no, you know what? I'm going to back up because I need to tie these two things together to really kind of give you guys the overall effect that you're going to get from a nootropic and an energy perspective. The overall feeling of elevation in mood, mental focus, elevation in energy that sticks around for a long fucking time is something that I personally have never experienced in any other complete stimulant-based pre-workout. There is just something about the Hostility that you just fucking feel $1 million and you feel like you can keep training and training and training and training and training for like the whole fucking day. It really is quite unique, and I think it's got to do with the way that they've balanced. They haven't gone too much down the mood. They haven't gone too much down the mental focus. They definitely haven't gone too much down the let's load this thing up with as many stimulants as possible. It's almost like this really beautiful balancing act that Hosstile have achieved with the Hostility, where it's like it's enough energy that comes on very quickly, but then it sticks around for a very long time. It's enough elevation in mood that makes you feel really good while the energy is sticking around for a long time. And it's enough mental focus where you don't feel like you're wired in, like you're completely dialed in, like you got the blinkers on, but it ties nicely in with that long-lasting energy where you just fucking feel really good. I don't really know that there's any other way to put it. You feel really good and it just feels amazing while you're training on it. For me personally, it is, it's the best pre-workout from a complete stimulant-based pre-workout perspective that I've ever used for my longer workouts. So my legs workouts, when I'm training for an hour 40 minutes, an hour 50 minutes. So my leg workouts 2 hours. My big back workouts, when I'm in the gym for like 90 minutes, 100 minutes, and those longer workouts, even my chest and triceps workouts at the moment are quite long. There's a lot of volume in there. I'm training for like an hour 40, an hour 45. Those are longer workouts. I have yet to, I'm lost for words. I got nothing. For those longer workouts, I have not trained on a pre-workout that feels better than this Hostility. It really comes into its own when you're training for longer periods of time because you feel like you can just keep going and you just don't want to leave the gym, to be completely honest with you guys. And I really think that's where the Hostility really kind of stands out and has built its own little niche. Longer workouts, amazing feeling. You just feel fucking good in the gym. From a side effects perspective, you do have to be aware of the total caffeine because with the caffeine anhydrous and the dicaffeine malate, the Infinity in there is 300 total milligrams of caffeine. So for a lot of us, that's going to be that's a big whack of caffeine. So perhaps start with half a scoop, build up to 3/4 of a scoop, and then go to your big heaped rounded scoop just to find your sweet spot. The other thing that I will mention is don't take it on an empty stomach. The reason for that is because 16 active ingredients, over 20 grams of active ingredients, there's a lot going in to your stomach. If it's empty, it's probably going to upset your stomach. So just be aware of that. From a stackability perspective, it's going to stack best, obviously, with stim-free pre-workouts if you choose to do so. I have chosen to experiment with the Hostility with Hostile's stim-free pre-workout. It's called Bloodshot. I've done a raw review on that. A bunch of you probably seen it. If you haven't, go check that out as well. And what I experimented there was full serve of Hostility, half a serve of Bloodshot. Full serve of Bloodshot, half a serve of Hostility, half a serve of Hostility, half a serve of Bloodshot. For me personally, half a serve of each, wild. Absolutely wild. So that's half a scoop of Hostility, which would be half a serve, and then 1 scoop of Bloodshot, because Bloodshot is a 2-scoop full serve. So 1 scoop of Bloodshot, half a scoop of Hostility, smack those bitches together. Best workouts I've had in a very, very long time, if not best workouts I've had ever. Absolutely wild. From a stackability perspective, don't stack it with any other stimulants. Kind of goes without saying. It is, it's not a stupidly high stimulant complete pre-workout, but if you throw in other stimulants in there, you just don't need it. It's going to throw that beautiful balance that I spoke about earlier. It's going to throw it completely off. What does it compare to? I've picked a couple of very popular pre-workouts to compare Hostility to. The first one, Faction Labs Disorder, Australian pre-workout. The second one, Core Fury, arguably one of the most complete pre-workouts ever formulated. Let's start with Disorder. When it comes to Disorder, the pumps in Disorder are not quite as good as Hostility. Hostility is better for muscle pumps. When it comes to power, Disorder, non-existent. There's nothing in there for power. It doesn't support power at all. The endurance between the two is very, very similar. Disorder has a full serve of beta-alanine. Obviously, Hostility has its own take on getting around the beta-alanine addition situation, but the endurance effect is very similar. Mental focus and feeling of well-being is quite good in Disorder, but it's not as good and not as balanced as it is in Hostility. Energy in Disorder is more intense than Hostility. There's 500 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous plus a whole bunch of other stimulants in Disorder. It literally, that's why it's called Disorder. You feel like you're off your head when you're training on it. So energy is more intense, but it's not as balanced as the energy you're going to get combined with the nootropic effect from the Hostility. A lot more flavors to choose from in Disorder. They just dropped flavor number 13 than the 4 flavors in Hostility. Disorder is much cheaper. It's $30 less per tub and you get 5 extra serves. But when you kind of compare the effects that you're getting, I mean, the value for money is always in the eye of the beholder, but it is a cheaper pre-workout formula. Core Fury, on the other hand, comparing the two. Core Fury pumps are very, very good. So are Hostility. I probably would give the pump just so slightly to Hostility. I think the pumps are a little better in Hostility than they are in Core Fury. Power across the two products is very, very similar. Endurance across the two products is very, very similar. Mental focus and feeling of well-being across the two products is very, very similar. Energy in Fury hits a bit harder. Once again, not as balanced as the energy in Hostility. And I really think that that's where this product stands alone, is that beautiful balance of nootropic effect, energy, feeling of well-being, mental focus, long-lasting elevation in energy. Really nothing touches the Hostility. 1 less flavor to choose from in Core Fury. There's 3 versus the 4 flavors in Hostility. Core Fury is cheaper per tub and per serve. It's $20 less per tub for the same number of serves, so about 20% cheaper. Who is the Hostility best for? I think there's a couple of ways to look at this, guys. I think really, I mean, it's going to be great for anyone, to be honest. If you're new to pre-workouts or you're an inexperienced pre-workout user, start with half a scoop, work your way up from there. If you're an experienced pre-workout user, you are going to have the best damn time training on the Hostility. It's going to feel like nothing you've ever trained on before. So I think really, if you're in the market for a pre-workout, really, it's kind of going to suit you, no matter where you kind of sit on the pre-workout experience spectrum. Last but not least, price and value for money. Guys, there's no way to sugarcoat this. This is the most expensive pre-workout on the Australian market at this point in time. Let's just say it. $99.95 per tub for 20 serves. That is breaking out at $5 per serve. It has set a new top shelf price point for a complete stimulant-based pre-workout. So it begs the question, is it good value for money? Because price is one thing. You'll pay whatever price if you see value in that price. Is this value for money? I think it's in the eye of the beholder always. For me personally, the fact that I'm getting really a standalone pump sup, plus a standalone nootropic, plus a pre-workout, all in the same product, you don't need to stack it with anything. It's got everything you want, plus it's the best feeling complete stimulant-based pre-workout I personally have ever trained on. I think it represents great value for money in that regard. Regardless of the high price point per tub, it is very good value for money. And I know that if you guys are willing to part with your avocados, if you're willing to part with your $100 to give it a shot, you are definitely not going to be disappointed. You are going to really love training on this Hosstile Hosstility. Guys, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the MJ Fitness YouTube channel, guys. Make sure that you turn your post notifications on your mobile, your cell phone, your desktop PC, your smart TV, and whatever other device you are watching this video on, so you don't miss a beat when it comes to all these new raw reviews and everything else we've got happening here on the channel. Guys, that is Massive Joe's raw review on the all-new Hosstile Hosstility complete stimulant-based pre-workout. Until next time, I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay